Tonight, federal fuel relief. A tax suspension out of Ottawa set to drop prices at the pumps. Meaningful savings or political persuasion?
It's a temporary quick fix.
Plus, a water main mess.
Sometimes they're in very inconvenient spots.
The disruption at Highbury and Huron from a serious sinkhole.
This one just happens to be a pretty major intersection.
And what are the odds?
Can't really resist thinking about that what-if scenario.
Doing the math on lottery luck.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with relief at gas stations, a tax break from the federal government. That means starting Monday, prices will drop 10 cents a litre. However, as Abigail Beeman reports, there's skepticism about the long-term impact of these savings.
Fresh off 3 by-election wins, Mark Carney's first act as leader of a now majority government, suspending the federal gas excise tax.
It's real relief for you and your family at the end of the day.
Starting Monday, expect to see pump prices drop by 10 cents until Labor Day, 4 cents for diesel and aviation fuel also included.
This is a big decision in terms of fiscal expense, and so we balance that given the situation.
The Prime Minister pegs the cost at $2.4 billion, hoping things will improve in the Middle East before the end of summer. The war led to a massive gas price spike.
Not good enough. Canadians cannot afford to gas their tanks. We want all gas taxes eliminated for the rest of the year to save Canadian families $1,200.
It's a temporary quick fix.
This analyst says to lower prices long term, you need to lower demand, which means keeping prices high.
But the federal government has decided to take the easy route and wave a 10-cent drop in front of the electorate. And good luck with that.
While many Canadians across the country tell us every cent counts.
It's disgusting. Poor people that need their cars to go to work every day or bring their kids to nursery. It's not fair.
Even just like when your car is at a red light for too long, you're like, oh my goodness, my gas is running out.
Oh, bravo to Mark Carney.
Next week is going to be 10 cents cheaper.
Right.
I mean,
that's why I got $15 today. Usually I fill it.
I think it's good, but I think it should be for all the time.
CTV News also reached out to the airlines, which all say relief is welcome. Air Canada said it can't predict future prices with a volatile Middle East. WestJet said more measures are needed for meaningful relief, while Porter said the drop will have an impact on overall operating costs and be represented as part of total airfare. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with Rural Roads Health Services in Oxford County say they're eliminating several personal support worker positions at the Tillsonburg Hospital. They say it's about updating their care model for patients with complex needs. Brian Bicknell reports.
There's a lot of tears still. It's still new and fresh, so we're still kind of taking it in and trying to figure out what to do with it.
Personal support worker Jennifer McMaster will soon be out of a job. She says she's one of 26 PSWs at Rural Roads Tillsonburg Memorial Hospital to receive notice her position will be eliminated as of September.
No one's happy with it. Nobody wants this. The nurses love us. They love our support. They know who to call. Like they're going to have a hard time once they have no support, so it's going to be rough.
McMaster says the job losses impact those with decades of experience as well as many who are relatively new to the field. In 2024, the Ford government announced a plan to train more than 32,000 new PSWs and nurses over 3 years, helping to fill a gap in long-term care in the province. The hospital group declined our request for an interview, instead directing us to a news release which essentially says that patients now require a more complex level of care than what PSWs can provide. In part, it says patients now require more frequent nursing assessments, complex medication management, and timely clinical interventions that fall within the scope of practice of nurses.
They knew him by first name, and they learned pretty quick what his needs were.
Area resident Dan Harbour says his elderly father recently left the the hospital after being there for 5 months waiting for a long-term care bed.
He needed to be somewhere, and they didn't have a bed for him in a long-term care place. And he couldn't be at home because he needed 24-hour care. So the doctor thought it best that he be at the hospital.
In the meantime, the hospital group says it plans to release more information on changes to its model of care later this week.
I'm hoping they give us some options that we can maybe fight for a little more time.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
A water main gave way in northeast London last night, creating a large sinkhole in the middle of a major intersection, disrupting traffic and businesses as crews spent the day working on repairs. As Sean Irvin reports, those disruptions are expected to continue at least into tomorrow morning.
City crews dig deep to get at a collapsed water main at the intersection of Huron and Highbury. The pipe collapsed just before 3 a.m. Tuesday, creating a large sinkhole, as seen in this video posted to social media. Responding crews shut the water off quickly. By morning, they were able to determine that an older cast iron pipe carrying drinking water had failed.
16-inch water main isn't our biggest by any means, but it's not our smallest either. And of course, the larger the pipe, the more water comes out and the more damage it does.
As the old pipe was lifted, plans were already underway to get a new one in the ground.
We're prepared to get them all fixed up and back up and running as soon as possible.
Traffic was both a considerable safety concern and an inconvenience throughout the day as drivers attempted to get to multiple plazas where some of the businesses were forced to close. Angela Knox just wanted some lunch. But no soup for you.
No soup for me, not today, no.
The break forced not only the soup and sandwich place to close, but also a pizza shop next door and a bank in the same plaza. Across the way, a popular hamburger restaurant could not operate. Some businesses were able to open, but their customers were impacted by the road closures.
I had to go all the way around down McNay and all the way around down Cheapside, kind of cut through the Walmart, and here I am.
The city understands the frustration, but concedes that water main breaks will happen.
And sometimes they're in very inconvenient spots. And this one just happens to be a pretty major intersection.
Just a few months ago, another break further up Highbury caused traffic disruptions. But scenes like this are not uncommon to Londoners. The most infamous break occurred nearly 20 years ago at Dundas in Wellington. Then a 10-meter deep hole forced major downtown offices to close for a few days. But this time, the response will be quicker.
Our crews will continue working until the water is restored to customers and ready to get asphalted and get this intersection back open.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Good evening. It was a mild day across the region. Temperatures climbing into the low 20s, even feeling rather close to a 30. We do have a special weather statement in effect. Heavy rainfall on the way and thunderstorms moving through the area tonight. That stretches all the way from Windsor through London into Midwestern Ontario. The reason the special weather statement's issued is there is the potential for some heavy rainfall, and that means upwards of 30 millimeters of rain. Temperatures across the region are holding on the very warm side. 18 in London, KW in Toronto. Towards Windsor, 25. But look, areas just to the north. That's where the front is waving its way through. Sarnia, Goderich on the northern side of the front. So that front will continue to wave its way across the region tonight. Another area of low pressure will ripple along that frontal boundary, bringing rounds of thunderstorms to the area. We are live on location tonight from Canadian Blood Services for the 3rd annual Bruin Inc. Blood Brigade. Coming up, we'll tell you more about that and how you can help. I'll have all of that live on location coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks very much, Julie. Emergency responders say one person was taken to hospital after a driver crashed into a store on Warncliffe Road. Police say it happened at the Lazy Boy store around 12:30 this afternoon. An SUV was partially inside the store, surrounded by broken glass. There's been no word on any possible charges at this point. Provincial police say they've charged a teenager from Central Elgin accused of causing a fatal crash last fall. The crash happened in November involving a car and a grain truck just east of St. Thomas. A 17-year-old girl, Hadley Dennison, eventually died from her injuries sustained in the crash. Police say the 17-year-old person driving the sedan has been charged with careless driving causing death, and they can't be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. A sentencing hearing today for a woman convicted of defrauding her own mother out of her residential school settlement worth $150,000. As Nick Paparella reports, her lawyers are requesting the sentence be stayed because of lengthy delays throughout the case.
56-year-old Ursula Dockstader was found guilty of fraud over $5,000 and uttering forged documents 11 months ago. This after the courts found that Dockstader ripped off her own elderly mother, Caroline, after she cashed her mom's $150,000 check that she received as part of her residential school class action lawsuit from the Canadian government in the summer of 2023. The court heard that Dockstader, a former Oneida of the Thames First Nation band counselor, got a hold of the check and put it in her own bank account because she was power of attorney. The money was all but gone in a matter of weeks. In her victim impact statement via Zoom, a tearful Caroline Dockstader told the hearing of the heartache and anguish that she has experienced at the hands of her only remaining child, saying, "I trusted her completely. What occurred was far more than financial. It was a serious breach of trust and exploitation of my personal trauma and a disruption of the fragile peace I have struggled to reconstruct." She went on, "The impact of this crime has been profound. The betrayal deeply affected me, resurfacing old wounds." Defense lawyer Karen Simpson told the court that the sentencing should be stayed because of a lengthy delay in getting a GLADU report completed in this case. It's a specialized pre-sentence report for Indigenous offenders that examines their background. If the judge rejects the application, the defense says Dockstader should only receive a conditional sentence. Meanwhile, Crown Attorney Jeremy Carnegie is asking that the application be denied, saying that Dockstader should receive 2 years in custody. The sentencing hearing resumes on Thursday. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
St. Thomas police say they've charged a man accused of firing paintballs at people. They say they were called to the city's west side yesterday afternoon where 3 people had been hit. Police say a 31-year-old man now faces several charges, including assault with a weapon. Stratford police say they've charged a developmental support worker in St. Mary's after a 40-year-old woman died suddenly last month at a supportive living residence. With more on the ensuing investigation, here's Colton Weens.
A developmental support worker is facing 2 charges after a 40-year-old woman died last month at a supportive living residence in St. Mary's. Emergency responders were called to a residence that is owned and operated by Community Living St. Mary's and area on March 11th.
The result of the call was a sudden death of one of the residents in the home. As a result of an investigation into that death, police have charged the developmental support worker was at that home in care of the individual who passed away.
According to police, Perth County paramedics tried to save the woman's life, but she was pronounced dead shortly after police officers arrived. On Monday, police announced a support worker has been charged with criminal negligence causing death and failing to provide the necessaries of life.
The worker was arrested on April 1st. And was released on an undertaking.
Community Living says the staff member involved is no longer with the organization, and after reviewing their procedures and protocols, they can confirm there is no ongoing risk to the health or safety of anyone the organization supports.
This was an isolated incident. There is no further cause of concern for anybody in the care of Community Living.
In an email to CTV News, Community Living's executive directors say upon learning of this incident, we took immediate steps to respond, including notifying the appropriate authorities and the family of the individual involved. We fully cooperated with the authorities as they investigated the matter. While the chair of the agency's board of directors tells CTV News the investigation focused on the conduct of the individual staff member who is no longer with the organization, saying on behalf of the board of directors, we wish to share our condolences with the family of the community member who passed away, as well as our own grief at this loss. The worker charged in the death is expected to appear in Stratford Court on May 11th. Colton Weens, CTV News, St. Mary's.
Provincial government officials say they're planning to expand Ontario's prisons in the coming decades, an effort they say is about dealing with overcrowding issues. Siobhan Morris reports.
Ontario's setting out on an expensive building spree meant to add capacity to an overflowing jail system. Right now, Ontario has about 2,000 more inmates than beds.
I don't care if you stack them 10 high. These are criminals that broke the law.
The plan is for 6,000 more jail beds by 2050. That's according to documents obtained through Freedom of Information by University of Ottawa researchers.
My number one concern is making sure we protect the correctional service officers that are in there. You know, I'm not building Four Seasons hotels for criminals that should be in jail.
The Premier says modular builds are on the table. Brand new jails and refurbishments are in the pipeline.
We're looking at reopening the Brantford jail and the Walkerton jail, and I'm close to having some news in the months ahead about that. That's going to bring hundreds of beds online.
Critics warn adding more beds won't fix all the problems in Ontario jails. Those facilities are mostly full of people still waiting for their day in court.
The government has completely failed to address overcrowding in jails because of their underinvestment in our court system. And as a result, a number of hardened criminals are getting out.
With judges acknowledging inhumane conditions behind bars when considering sentencing or granting bail.
And that's not safe for inmates or for correctional officers. I just question why this government never seems to look at any of the upstream solutions.
The expected multi-billion-dollar bill for more and expanded jails
will cost the government and taxpayers more money than if they would build supportive housing and treatment centers to help people.
Doug Ford is undeterred.
Those billions of dollars is well invested to make sure our communities are safe.
At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
All right, we are live on location tonight at Canadian Blood Services for a very important blood drive. The 3rd annual Bruin Inc. Blood Brigade. We're joined by Christy Bruin Inc. Christy, this is a very special, close to your heart blood drive in memory of your husband, Chris, and your dad. Tell us about that.
So my late husband, Chris, was an avid donor for plasma and platelets before he passed from cancer. 7 months later, we lost my dad, and on that day, he had received over 10 units of blood. So it's a very important cause for me, obviously near and dear, and it's just a way to give back to the community.
We're wearing the London Fire Department shirt. Your husband was a London Fire Department member.
Yes, he was. So in honor of that, we have these T-shirts made. We're actually raising some money for that to put towards a good cause as well.
And who's out here tonight donating? Tell us about that. And who are you hoping will come out?
We've had a great showing. We've had actually some of my students from Anderson College, and the London Fire Department has been out, and a lot of my family and friends. So I'm really excited.
And when you see these people come out from all parts of Chris's life and in memory of him and your dad, what does that mean to you?
It just means the absolute world. They're very special people in my life, and it just means a lot. It's their one time a year that we get to honor them and give back.
All right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. How can people come out and donate? Can they come out tonight and tomorrow?
They can come out tonight. We're open till 7, and we're also here tomorrow starting at 4. And there's pizza and muscle rescue, 911.
All right. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, and a wonderful thing to do in memory of both of them.
Thank you so much.
All right. We will be back. I'll have all your local forecast details coming up a little later in the show. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Julie. Well, when we come back, a Liberal sweep. Monday's by-election results hand the Prime Minister a majority government with major implications for the opposition. Plus, the push for equal pay, rallies for gender pay parity, and support for affordable childcare.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. The federal Liberals swept all 3 by-elections yesterday, securing a majority government for Prime Minister Mark Carney. However, the results also suggest support for the Conservative Party under Pierre Poilievre is sliding. Rachel Aiello reports.
After scoring an electoral hat trick, Prime Minister Mark Carney hit the ice today, recharged. Not the case for Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, who, after being dealt double-digit defeats in all 3 by-elections, felt compelled to assert he's not going anywhere.
I will continue to lead that fight in this House, across this country, and in the next election.
The Conservatives' vote share shrunk by more than 10% in all 3 ridings, even dropping to 3rd place in the downtown Toronto race.
I think for the Conservatives, the message that they should be receiving last night is whatever their strategy was doesn't work.
While Conservatives say these 3 ridings were not Poilievre's to win, they know the downward trend isn't a good sign for the party.
It leaves them in a less, well, let's say a weakened position relative to where they, have been.
If you were Mr. Poilievre, would you quit today?
I don't. That's an unfair question. I can't look into the heart of Mr. Poilievre. I respect him as a parliamentarian, as I do the other leaders of the other parties.
In closely watched Terrebonne, the Conservative decline boosted both Bloc Québécois and Liberal votes.
We lost because they had more votes than we did.
It was a slightly better night for the NDP. While support for Avi Lewis's party slipped in Quebec, their vote share was up in both Ontario ridings, including University Rosedale, where the NDP candidate placed 2nd.
I think that it's a massive opportunity for the NDP under Avi to say, if you want the government to worry about regular folks, we're the party to do that.
A Carney majority does give the opposition parties more time to improve their political fortunes. But if any more Conservative MPs cross the floor to the Liberals, the fate of Poilievre's political future may rest with his caucus, who today said they still support him. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A rally in Toronto today pushing for the elimination of gender pay discrimination. Heather Wright has more on the changes those demonstrators want to see.
Equal pay! Equal pay! Today is the 104th day of 2026, a day that marks the extra time the average woman needs to work to earn as much as the average man.
We're here today because we believe in equal pay, simply put.
At a rally in downtown Toronto, members of the Ontario Equal Pay Coalition called on the government to do more to close the gender pay gap, specifically when it comes to the care economy, jobs that are typically held by women, including nurses, personal support workers, and educators.
We're still not giving childcare people what they need. The educators can't come today, so that's why I came.
In addition to calls for higher wages, the group also wants the Ontario government to deliver on its promise of $10 a day childcare. The federal government had set an April 2026 deadline of reaching that threshold. And while Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and Nunavut have all met the $10 a day target, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Ontario, Alberta, and British Columbia have not. The group says unaffordable childcare disproportionately burdens women.
There is no work without care work. No one can go to work if their children, their elders are not cared for.
According to Statistics Canada, women aged 25 to 54 earned 89 cents for every dollar earned by men in 2025, up from 81 cents in 1997. And while that pay gap has slowly shrunk over time, another one is growing. The gap between Canada's richest and poorest grew last year, driven in part by a weak job market and slow wage growth.
Statistics Canada says the high cost of living and economic uncertainty are impacting a large portion of the country, with nearly 3/4 of Canadians saying the rising price of essentials is straining their finances. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
And rejoining Julie Atchison live for us on location tonight. Julie, over to you.
Thanks so much, Carlyle. You can see the bed behind me. I think it's waiting for the folks at home to come out and donate some blood. We are live on location tonight at Canadian Blood Services for a very important cause. Again, it's the 3rd annual Bruin Inc. Blood Brigade in memory of Captain Chris Bruin Inc. and Christy's dad, Jerry, both who used blood services during their treatment. So definitely a wonderful cause tonight. Temperatures across the region on the very warm side today, well above normal for this time of year. In London, hitting 22 degrees, normally 11 to 12. So we're going to double that up tonight. Our sun setting at 8:06, and we will stay on the warm side through the week. I know many of you enjoying the return of the warm temperatures. Right now, 18 degrees at the London airport. The winds out of the north-northwest at 11 kilometers per hour. We have a stationary boundary that's set up shop over the lakes, and it's generating rounds of scattered showers and thunderstorms. But you can see a lot of action off to the east. We had that roll through early this morning, a bit of a lull in the activity out there tonight, but it will amplify again as we head through the overnight. That low pressure area that you're seeing rippling along that stationary front will be coming in overnight. Temperatures, overnight lows will be milder than normal daytime highs, anywhere between 12 and 15 degrees. So that warm air is sparking lots of action. Here it comes. That's why the special weather statement is in effect. That's at about 2 to 3 a.m. So a round of storms could wake you up. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, slight risk. In the afternoon, the chance for showers. But you can see the forecast model is showing a lot of breaks, so it'll be cloudy with breaks as we head through the afternoon. But with an unstable air mass like this in place, there is the potential for these storms to erupt at any time. Now, the main thing with these storms and the main risks are heavy rainfall. The reason, this warm air, saturated air mass, and it can bring a lot of rain in a very short period of time, and that can lead to localized flooding in low-lying areas. Tomorrow, another warm one will hit 21 degrees in the afternoon, 18 heading into Thursday with the risk of thunderstorms, mainly cloudy on Friday. Temperature starts to dip just a bit, but still 16 degrees. Saturday, overcast with the risk of nighttime rain, and then our temperatures crash Sunday, Monday into Tuesday. Daytime highs anywhere from 5 to 7 degrees, and we have one night, Sunday night into Monday, where we drop back below freezing. So if you've put the winter coats away, it's going to be a cold start on Monday. As we head to Midwestern Ontario, storm risk as we move into tomorrow. The risk overnight as well, possibility of a bit of heavy rainfall. Now, it doesn't look to be that widespread tomorrow, so just mainly cloudy with breaks. But again, heading into the afternoon with an air mass like this, we can see them pop up at any time. 18 degrees as we head into your Thursday, 19 on Friday. Will be a nice warm start to the weekend, but a cool finish. We'll take the high to 4 degrees on Sunday and a mix of sun and cloud into Monday and Tuesday. Now, Chris and Christy's dad relied heavily on the Canadian Blood Service donations. Last year at this event, they raised almost $300, so they are hoping to surpass that over the next couple of days. So again, you do have tonight and into tomorrow to come out and donate. And we're on Warncliffe Road. We're just near the CTV studio, so I'll be heading back there right now. And Carlyle, hopefully some more folks will come out tonight to donate in their honor.
For sure. All right, Julie, thanks very much. When we come back, an elevated flying experience. The updates announced by Air Canada in the name of luxury. Will they come at the expense, though, of the economy experience? And later in the newscast, it's Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. What are we talking about this week, Lauren?
We're talking about a local nail salon that is going viral.
All right, stay with us.
Pure Country 93. London's home for the best country music. Listen for your chance to win $50,000 with Pure Country's big 50K payday.
Air Canada officials have announced a major redesign for their airplanes in the name of comfort. Geneviève Beauchemin has more on the changes and how they'll impact the cost of a ticket.
We're bringing the beauty of Canada to the sky.
Air Canada is calling it the most significant cabin redesign in its 90-year history. Passengers will catch a ride in the upgraded interiors, including the luxury of some lie-flat seats on long-haul flights. This aboard the company's new Airbus A321 XLR and Boeing 787-10 aircraft. The rollout will begin this summer, and all cabins will eventually see upgrades.
We've got 93 brand new aircraft on order. And the last time we came out with a new interior was about 10 years ago.
And the airline is borrowing from the national anthem and naming the project Glowing Hearted, leaning into Canadian themes. The comfy seat, big screens, larger overhead bins are a big investment, and the airline will no doubt need to pass on costs to travelers.
So it's not that those seats necessarily will cost more because of this, but we'll have more premium seats, which is really good for our business.
Still, it could squeeze out lower-cost seats, but analysts say the market is split between low-cost carriers and luxury brands, and Air Canada is finding its niche on some aircraft.
People are buying premium services. They're buying the premium tickets. So, I think they're kind of figuring out that, the cattle call that we have in the back of the bus is something that they want to stay away from.
Privacy wings, big screens. Some frequent flyers say paying extra for extra luxury is the future of flying.
If you got a little bit more comfort and you know you're going to go that way, then yeah, that's the way you go.
Well, it just depends on what kind of budget you're on. Yeah, I can't afford first class or business.
Air Canada calls it a reimagined travel experience, and some analysts say the overhaul was long overdue. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The federal government has introduced new measures meant to help students find summer jobs. With more on the response from business owners and young people trying to enter the workforce, here's Kimberly Johnson.
This is where farm camp will be.
Saunders Farm is getting ready to host kids at their summer day camp in the coming months. And as they look for camp counselors, the boost to the Canada Summer Jobs program is welcome news.
Excited that the program is, I feel like it's back on track.
The federal government is looking to get more young Canadians into the job market by helping businesses like Saunders hire more students.
It does help us hire more students than we normally would in the summertime.
The Canada Summer Jobs program helps subsidize the wages of students. Last year, Saunders Farm was turned down, but this year, owner Mark Saunders says he'll be able to hire 17 students under the program.
So it really is a really great way to boost the economy, especially the rural economies that sometimes struggle in these days. But even all small businesses need a little bit of a leg up.
The Jobs Minister announcing the federal government is working to create 175,000 jobs and training opportunities for young Canadians, as youth unemployment numbers remain high at 13.8% in March.
That is deeply concerning, in fact, because prolonged unemployment as a young person can really inhibit their career trajectory, but also their earning potential.
That includes creating 100,000 Canada Summer Job postings, an increase of 25,000 over last year, as well as increasing the Student Work Placement Program, which helps businesses hire post-secondary students in paid internships.
I think it's really important. You know, a lot of us, we have to pay rent, we have to pay for our education, we need to pay for groceries, and you can't really do that if you're doing unpaid work.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was up on strength in the technology sector. The TSX gained 223 points. In New York, the Dow added 318, the Nasdaq up 455. The Canadian dollar gained more than a quarter cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained almost $83 an ounce. Oil lost $7.80 a barrel. Still ahead, in the heat of war, a pause to reflect. Holocaust Remembrance Day in Israel. Welcome back. The provincial government is pushing for expanded access to weapons like pepper spray, claiming that will improve safety. It's something police forces in southwestern Ontario are already dealing with on a more regular basis. And as Karis Mapp reports, whether it actually improves safety seems debatable.
Waterloo Regional Police are investigating after bear spray was used during an altercation between two groups in Kitchener on Saturday. It happened in the Chandler Drive area. Although no one was hurt, this is one of 9 instances Waterloo Police have responded to for misuse of bear spray this year. Guelph Police are also dealing with similar calls. At the end of March, a 12-year-old was arrested and charged for using bear spray during 2 separate robberies.
This substance found its way into the hands of someone who shouldn't have been possessing it and clearly didn't possess it for any legal purpose.
In Ontario, you need to be at least 18 years old to purchase bear spray, and buyers must confirm it will only be used as an animal deterrent.
It is sold as a personal safety item for use, in hiking and camping and so on. It is intended to be used against larger wildlife, such as bears.
This all comes as the provincial government pushes for pepper spray to be legalized for self-defense purposes.
If you're under attack, your life is in jeopardy, then use every tool you can. And there's nothing wrong with, especially women, walking at night with pepper spray.
Seeing trends of people already improperly using bear spray, pepper spray could come with more severe consequences.
Pepper spray is much more potent than bear spray is. I think it can be up to 5 times as irritating by the concentration of the chemicals in it.
Former OPP Commissioner Chris Lewis says getting pepper spray into the hands of more people doesn't automatically improve safety.
I don't support the legalization of pepper spray. What would happen, in my view, is that people that really intend on carrying it for self-protection still have to be trained. They still can spray themselves. It still can get in the hands of the wrong people.
Adding that even in self-defense, the substance could be lethal.
It causes a sensation that you can't breathe. If you sprayed somebody who had some sort of respiratory issue, or someone that's elderly and not of good health, you could potentially kill them.
Although Ford's government is behind the push, the federal government has the final say. Kara Smapp, CTV News, Kitchener.
A $25 million jackpot is up for grabs in tonight's Lotto Max draw, the first since the lottery introduced new rules. The cost of a ticket has increased, and there are now more numbers to choose from. Colton Weens says more on how that impacts a player's chances of winning.
And you'll see on my ticket at the very end there, I do in fact have a 52 in my selection. So I'm hoping that first draw is going to give us one of those new numbers.
University of Waterloo Associate Professor Michael Wallace has his new Lotto Max ticket ahead of Tuesday's draw. And there's new rules in effect that he says will impact how it all works.
In some ways, your odds have got worse on that front. But OLG is trying to make it up to us by giving us an extra line or an extra play per ticket.
On Friday, the cost of a Lotto Max ticket went from $5 up to $6. Each ticket now also includes 4 lines to play on instead of 3, and players can choose a combination of 7 numbers from 52 rather than 50.
The main thing you're probably going to notice is that you do have a slightly higher chance of winning prizes. So mainly that's going to be those smaller prizes like a free play or a $20 win. But your odds of winning any prize are going to increase slightly from about 1 in 7 to, under the new rules, a little better than 1 in 6.
Wallace says those who have a subscription to the lottery may not notice much of a difference.
When we think about this as statisticians, we think about what your expected return is. On average, you're expected to get about 50% of what you spend back in prizes. So for every $100 you spend, the average player will get about $50 back.
And while Wallace believes OLG may see higher revenues from this change, for consumers, he says the game is mostly the same, but the chance of a big win is what keeps people playing.
Myself included. Even as a statistician, I know my odds are terrible, but you can't really resist thinking about that what-if scenario, what if those numbers come up.
Wallace says one of the very few strategic things lottery players can do is try to avoid choosing common numbers.
The one thing you can do, and it's not got a great chance of helping, but every little helps, is try and pick numbers that you think other people won't pick.
Colton Weens, CTV News, Waterloo.
The 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class has been revealed. Grammy winner Phil Collins earned induction, appearing on the ballot for the first time as a solo artist. He was previously inducted as a member of the band Genesis. British rock band Oasis were also announced as inductees on the heels of their major international reunion tour last year. The induction ceremony is set for November in Los Angeles. Tomorrow on CTV News, back in court for Megan Van Hoof, the latest on the case against a former daycare operator accused of manslaughter in the death of a toddler. That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Welcome back to another week of KP's Pet Rescue, where we have sweet Miss Molly. She is the most adorable, as you can tell, 1.5-year-old golden retriever who is very food motivated. She wants all of the treats. She wants all of the cuddles, all of the walks and the car rides too. She's a 10 out of 10 girl. She's only 1.5 years. She's happy. She's healthy. She's with an amazing foster right now with Animal Alert. But again, sweet Molly here would thrive in a family that wants to give her lots of exercise and love and attention. She's great with older kids, so let's say 8+, again, because she can be a little excited because she is still a puppy. She's still a young dog, but she's fully vaccinated. She's spayed. She does love a good squirrel or bunny, so if you're on a walk, definitely just have a tight hand on that leash. But she really is just such an awesome girl who's pretty obedient too. Yes, you did so well.
If you're interested in adopting, visit animalert.ca for more information.
Shout out tonight to Derek Blake. Thank you for sending this photograph. Showers and thunderstorms overnight. Temperatures holding on the mild side through the rest of the week. We'll see a crash as we head into Sunday, back into the low single digits.
Thousands of people gathered today marking Holocaust Remembrance Day. Sirens blared across Israel as people paused to remember the 6 million Jewish people murdered during the Second World War. There was also a wreath-laying ceremony attended by the Israeli Prime Minister and other senior Israeli government officials. In Poland, Holocaust survivors from around the world participated in the annual March of the Living at the site of the Auschwitz concentration camp. Pope Leo is in Algeria. The pontiff made the pilgrimage to the archaeological ruins where St. Augustine lived. On the night of his election, Pope Leo proclaimed himself a son of St. Augustine, citing him often during his first year as Pope. He was scheduled to finish the day by celebrating Mass at the Basilica of St. Augustine. Well, between baseball and math, a young student in Montreal may have found his calling. As Sweet Arasi reports, his board game aptitude has already earned him the chance to compete internationally.
Involves players' analytics to predict an outcome of a baseball game.
It's a board game that combines baseball and math.
6 and 3, which is 18. No.
And from a Harley Musgrave, those just happen to be his 2 favorite things.
I like timesing, dividing. I like fractions.
It all started when the 10-year-old boy and his father were watching a baseball game at home. That's when a commercial for a board game called MLB Player STEM League caught their eye. It's a baseball-inspired game where players use real MLB statistics to calculate the moves of their roster. Months later, they found out the league was holding its worldwide championships in Miami. Musgrave sent in a video application and got in, becoming the first Canadian ever to compete.
Feels pretty awesome to be like the first Canadian, to represent the whole country for the first time in this game.
His dad couldn't wait to share the news.
He was actually in class when I got it, so I actually came to the school to let him know. I was pretty much in tears.
Last month, Musgrave went up against 25 other players. He battled his way to the semifinals before losing by just 1 point. But he didn't go home empty-handed.
So I won the sportsmanship award.
It was a trip full of memories. He met some real-life MLB players, watched the World Baseball Classic quarterfinal, and left with a shirt and ball signed by the pros. Back home, he continues to sharpen his skills.
I'm probably going to go again next year.
And by his calculations, he may be right. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
And on the other side of the break, Lauren Stallone is with us for Behind the Lights. Julie's also back as well.
I made a quick change, and yes, I made it back. I feel like I'm sweating, though. I ran back, but Canadian Blood Services is really close, so I was able to make it back.
And we did need you back here because it helps to have one more expert on the topic that we're talking about.
Nails.
I might not have as much expertise.
Nails.
Exactly. Right. That's coming up after the break.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
And before we go tonight, it's Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone. Julie's here as well. Lauren, we're talking about nails this week.
That's right. A local nail salon is going viral right now. So influencers have been going to the salon and vlogging their experience. Now, the salon is going viral because they have fragrance-free, chemical-free manicures and pedicures as an option. So getting your nails done can make you feel so good, but it isn't always the healthiest option. So I spoke with the owner to get an understanding of how they offer that healthy option and why she thinks they're going viral.
The other nail polishes, that's what we found, that it makes your nail plate super dry, it makes your nail plate break easily. The way that the removal is here, for example, we take our time, it takes 40 minutes to remove the gel polish. My clients loves it. You know, they look at their nails and they're like, oh my God, I never had this healthy nail. Because again, we pick the products based on your nail plate. And we really care about your nail plate health, so we always check it, and yeah, we care about you.
So there are really so many benefits to the chemical and fragrance-free nail options that we're seeing at this salon. It puts less toxins in your body, which is always great. It allows your nail beds to grow stronger. It's safer for people who may be experiencing pregnancy, and also a gentle removal, which the owner mentioned. So I spoke with a retired registered nurse to get her perspective on how this is a better option.
I was thinking well, yes, the lack of fume would be safer for everybody, for all of our organs, for sure. But especially for obviously maternity people that are pregnant, yes, or diabetic, or people with a lot of health ailments, yes.
Well, I don't normally get my nails done for a couple of reasons. I just can't like make it. What's the word?
Priority.
Yes, that's it. So I think it looks so nice on air when I'm doing the weather, and I wish that I did, but I can't. They chip, and then I just don't do it. But your nails look beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's the benefit of what she's saying, right? It will last even longer with these higher quality products. And I know, Julie, we were speaking about how it's actually banned in some places in Europe. It's not popular in Japan because it is so damaging. So to have a healthier option, it allows people to have fun with it.
Another aspect we were talking about this off air about when it comes to, men can have their nails done
100%.
too. I'll say, as someone who's had a manicure, it is a lovely experience.
Harry Styles,
absolutely.
He's got some great nails going on. So it could be for everybody. And when it's healthier, I mean, that's huge on social media too right now, is those healthier options. So it does the job for sure.
All right, Lauren, thanks very much. Julie, thanks for coming back to us as well tonight. That's it for us on CTV News at 6. We'll see you again tomorrow.